Well, I was sitting here today and I got to thinking. I remember, since being in this business now 17 years, I was thinking back on some of the knowledge and everything that I've received just working in the real estate space. And I realized that my journey hasn't been an easy one. I mean, I graduated in May of 2005 and was so excited to get going in real estate, having absolutely no clue how hard it actually was. They teach you all the things not to do so that you don't go to jail doing real estate in real estate school. What they don't teach you is how to clearly communicate and negotiate at the highest level. Those are two of the things that you have to learn in the field. Well, unfortunately, no one specified that to me, so I had to learn the hard way. And I do remember that I had a deal go down in 2008. Of course, the crash of the market. And here I go out, this property was in Highland, and I had been working with these clients for, over a year. They'd been in my drip campaigns and we'd stayed in contact. We'd message or email, and it had gone on and, for at least a year. And then all of a sudden they were ready. They were ready to sell their home and build a new home. And of course, I was extremely excited that I got to be the one to sell their home. So we went in, we're sitting down at the kitchen table, we're going over all of the stats, all of the market. I'm showing them, all of the short sales are just down the street from their house, all of the homes that are currently under contract. Some of those are short sales. And I remember telling this family that their home would most likely sell between $215,000 and $220,000. And of course, they're looking over all of the documentation and they're like, we want $225,000. And I remember telling them, okay, well, I'm comfortable with that. We can try that. But here's the deal. If for any reason one of these homes down the street closes before your home closes, and they close for less than $225,000, then we're going to have an appraisal issue. Well, we put the home on the market. We put it at $225,000, and wouldn't you know it, we get full price offer and quick close. And of course, as soon as the inspection rolls around and it's time for due diligence and that happens and repairs start coming in, then the appraisal happens and all hell breaks loose. For one, here's where I fell short. The repairs started coming in, and there was several that needed to be done, and they were extensive. Clearly, I at that point in time, having only been in the business 3 years, clearly did not communicate effectively. My seller was furious with me, felt that I was working on the buyer's side, yelling at me on phone calls, to where there was one time I was so so shook up that I put this man on speaker, set my phone down on the railing of my deck, and I walked away. I clearly could not fathom what I was supposed to say to him. And on top of that, I had gotten so personally involved in this transaction that I couldn't separate myself. I remember going with that and them feeling as if I was working for the buyer when I was bringing back the repair requests. And he's like, you're not negotiating for us. You're not working for us. It feels to me like you're working for the buyer. I physically was so traumatized from this transaction that I mentally shut down. I mentally could not get through that transaction. I couldn't walk him through it. Therefore, I kind of failed as their agent. Took me years to realize that I had actually failed in that. But we got them to proceed forward and getting the repairs done. And then we had an appraisal issue, and the appraisal issue was the appraisal came in a total of $15,000 below the purchase price. And I was like, oh shit, now I have to go and I have to explain this to them. Well, instead of asking for help from my broker on how to approach this, of course, I'm all gung-ho, I'm the agent, I'm going to take care of it, when I seriously should have gone to my broker. And I had a great broker. I should have gone to my broker. No, I didn't. I didn't go to the broker. And I paid for it. Believe me, I paid for it. I sit down at the table and I'm telling them, okay, this is where we're at. The appraisal didn't come in where we needed it to come in. So here's what you can do. And I proceed to tell them that they can take the offer as it sits. They can back out of the offer because it's not where they want to be. Or we can try and negotiate with the buyers. Key point. I missed that third section. I only give them 2 options when I should have given them 3. And here's how it went down. The buyers on this particular deal had to move quickly. They needed to be in the home because they were in the middle of an adoption. And they needed to have their house walkthrough by the agency. So they were highly motivated to get closed on this home. So I call up the other agent who was an absolute godsend. He was fabulous. And he calls me up and he says, they will bring an additional $10,000 to closing, but they are not bringing the entire $15,000 to closing. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that to my clients and we'll see what happens. Well, I told my clients, and instead of being excited that they were getting really close to that purchase price that we had originally gone under, no, they were pissed. So pissed. And fast forward, horrible conversations and all, we ended up in risk management. at my brokerage so that they could sit on the phone with me, with this client that was being truly unreasonable. And they got really indignant on the phone with our risk management team. And my risk management guy in our office that had taken control of this, and he looks at me and he says, "Don't say a word. You just sit there." I was like, okay. So I sat there while, of course, he handles it and he talks them through it. He had to get a little pissy. He definitely had to get a little pissy because these clients were absolutely mad. They were furious with me because they felt that I had not negotiated on their behalf, that I was truly working for the buyer so that the buyer would get a better deal. And after that whole conversation, after he got them to accept the offer, or accept the counter offer, I should say, and we got repairs done, and then that phone call was finished, and then my risk management officer turns over and he looks at me and he says, "You clearly handled that so wrong. You should have walked them through that better. You should have communicated with them better." Yeah, I walked out of that office that day feeling like a total fraud in the real estate industry. But one thing it did teach me. From that day forward, I made damn sure I did not communicate. I made sure that they knew where they sat in every possible aspect of the transaction, whether it was on the seller's side or the buyer's side. But honestly, it was a lesson learned, and one that was a tough one to swallow. It was traumatic. I had oftentimes thought about giving up real estate, and instead I pushed forward. Thank goodness. Thank the Lord I did that, because I've had a fabulous career, wonderful clients, and one hell of a learning lesson. One that I truly will never, ever forget. So if you take anything from this, make damn sure that your real estate agent communicates with you so that you know all aspects of the transaction. And as a real estate agent, make damn sure that you're communicating and making sure that your clients understand everything that you're communicating. Otherwise, you could be up a shit creek without a paddle, just like I was. Well, that was my thought for today. Hope you're having a fabulous day out there. And I'm Tamra Simons, eXp Realty. And we'll talk to you soon.